play. So this is a really fun topic. It was really fun to pull together. Definitely embraced our inner child when brainstorming for this one. Okay, so we were really inspired to focus on play this month with the summer energy, just feeling this change in season, even here in Florida, just feeling that summer vibe coming in. And also just thinking we've been so focused as an industry on designing for the flexible work from anywhere world, really focused on co-work. And we wanted to shift from that really work focused vibe to the complete opposite, which is for us play. Of course, play is a really important part of how we design too. We're always trying to incorporate playful moments throughout all of our design, even work areas. But this time we just wanted to focus all about play, specifically outdoor play. We're looking at some research here. Studies show that play is just as important for adults as it is for kids. It's an opportunity to relieve stress, to socialize, and just bring joy to life and generate happiness, energy, foster human connection. And then when you take that idea of play and bring it outside, you get all of the added benefits of reconnecting with nature and getting a little bit of that respite from technology. So this month we were looking all for new ideas and ways to elevate our outdoor play and outdoor gaming ideas. Also, we were inspired by a group of experts who are children of our team. So if anybody hasn't seen it, check out CID's Instagram. We posted a really cute reel where we interviewed some of the kids of our team and they had a lot to say about the idea of play. It was super cute. Okay, let's get into our playful consumer. So again, looking into these ideas of play relieving stress, improving things like brain function, boosting creativity, and helping to build relationships. We also learned that people who spent 2 to 3 hours in nature reported 20% higher overall satisfaction with their lives. So you do get that little bit of added burst of adding the outdoor element to the idea of play. We had a ton of fun pulling together our what's in, what's out page this month. So the first one, what's in, vitamin D, what's out, vitamin D deficiency. So again, really just focusing on bringing some of those playful ideas outside. We know how important these outdoor amenity spaces have become, especially post 2020. And people, that's something that I think people want to keep. They want to keep going outside. They want to keep prioritizing these outdoor spaces post that time. So we will look at some ideas with pools, playing with nature, the idea of these outdoor rooms, bringing some concepts of art outdoor, really leaning into some ideas of outdoor nostalgia. So again, getting in touch with that inner child and the things that we love to do as kids. Do we still love to do them as adults? I think we do. Looking at some new ideas with lawn games, biking, activating dog parks, and then of course, multi-purpose spaces. Our first page here, all about pool play. So the pool is the first thing that comes to mind when you think about outdoor play and summer. And we really wanted to think of ideas to step up the pool and make it feel more playful. And so some ideas that we found were, of course, activating it with gaming. So loving this basketball hoop on the top left. Really think this sort of like net monkey bar kind of idea is super fun in the bottom left. The idea of having a slack line over the pool, while we know maybe slightly controversial, we think it's totally worth it and would be really a really fun way to sort of activate that pool a little further. Always inspired by the student hotels pool where they have the beach is boring printed on the bottom, just thinking that that sort of like tongue-in-cheek kind of humor is really a nice element to add to the pool space as well. So again, with the pool, wanting to take it a step further and having the idea of this pool share. So having a library that's stocked with inflatable games and floats and coolers. We especially love the floats from Fun Boy. We just think that they have the most outrageous and special feeling and definitely social media friendly floats. So we want to make sure we're planning for this storage of all of these items intentionally. And even maybe the idea of having a fix-it station similar to the bike fix-it station where you can have patches to patch up any holes or tears in these inflatables and also a pump to be able to inflate them quickly. Love the idea of hosting a dog swim at the end of the summer if you're draining your pool before you do. invite the community to have their dogs come swim is a super fun end of summer event as well. We got so excited about this page with the lazy river. So this is definitely an aspirational idea, but we just love it too much not to include it. And this is just the idea of having swapping out your regular rectangle pool for a lazy river. Brings that resort vibe to any community. And it's sort of evokes that vibe of being really relaxing, but also really playful and really fun. This ties into some of that nostalgia that we mentioned in the beginning, but having the bounce house, which now they call them Luxe bounce houses. So they're not the primary color bounce castles of your childhood. They are super luxe feeling matte colors and ready for Instagram. But it's just as fun to bounce on these as an adult as it was when we were all kids. And so you can see that they hold this sort of sense of nostalgia, but feel really modern with sort of this social media friendly makeover that they've been given. Thinking that this could be really fun to have a resident bounce house pop-up event. And when researching this, I just saw so many people renting these for weddings. And I mean, that people do still rent these Luxe bounce houses for kid events as well, but so many weddings, so many parties that were really focused on these for adults. So loving this idea and the nostalgia that it brings. Outdoor art spaces. So bring that makerspace and set it up outside. We love the easel idea of having some of these outdoor easels so people can go outside and sketch or paint and draw inspiration from nature. Or we had a lot of fun brainstorming this internally with our team, but having these sort of slate walls or like reminiscent of chalkboard walls. And if it was positioned near a water source or a fountain or something like that, we could just have a bucket of paintbrushes and people could take and just paint with water. And that feels really like low maintenance, no mess, but is a way to activate a just blank wall. The idea of having this amphitheater or outdoor space to host live music, karaoke, movies, anything like that, bring people in, host events, just bringing people together outside in this space that feels really special and really event focused. We think that this is just a great outdoor amenity, something also that people of all ages can appreciate. We're calling these bikes buddy bikes. So pub bikes or Surrey bikes, tandem bikes, any bikes where more than one person can fit on it, we think is a really playful, fun approach to the classic bike. Especially love the idea of having a property branded pub bike. So we've all been to Nashville. We've all seen these, the bachelorette parties that take over the pub bikes. But we think this could be a really fun community branded moment as well. And be able to rent it out for events or have residents rent it out, and also some great social media share options and also community branding. So another page that sort of ties back to some of those nostalgic childhood ideas, but thinking that having a resident or community field day could be a really fun programming event that feels just like the epitome of playfulness, that one day in school where you just are out there doing an egg and spoon race. I mean, I think that adults would really get a kick out of this, or people of all ages, kids, adults, and something that the whole community can do together. Feels really nostalgic, feels really playful, and feels really summertime special. We're really excited about the idea of bringing a property branded geocache sort of front and center. So for those who don't know, geocaching is an outdoor recreational activity where people use a GPS receiver, or you can use your phone, you have an app, and you navigate these sort of containers that are hidden, and then you are searching for them. They're called geocaches, and they're hidden all over the world. They're in rural areas, they're in cities, and they're marked by their coordinates. So you are searching, following the GPS signal. And then when you find them, oftentimes they're really special or beautifully designed, sort of like a few we have pictured here. So we think that designing a really clever one, property branded, that feels kind of over the top, designed really special, would be a fun property icon that really ties together that idea of outdoor play. Nature wayfinding is our idea of activating these outdoor spaces and encouraging interaction with nature through sort of this idea of signage that could be anything from bird watching, identifying leaves or plants and trees, stargazing, any of these animal identification charts we think are really fun. And it's just a way to activate an already existing outdoor space that feels really playful and like something that would, again, appeal to people of all ages. Our idea of the sand lawn is taking that classic green game lawn, but turning it into sand, and you can still apply all of the same programming ideas for a game lawn onto a sand lawn. So that sort of change in terrain sort of helps users make that mental shift from like the regular ground to this is a special space to game or to get together and socialize. So we also love the idea of having this outdoor shoe rack that really encourages people to take off their shoes, ground to the earth, get their toes in the sand, and feel like they're somewhere special. So games that work well here are any lawn game essentially. So bocce, tetherball, cornhole, even the ping pong setup here. One fun game that's fun that we just made a note of is Mulki, which is an outdoor throwing game from Finland. And when you can play it on any surface, but playing it in sand totally changes strategy, speaking from personal experience here. This page was a fun nod to Bridgerton, which I'm sure many people have seen, since I think it's still ranked as like one of the most watched English language shows like of all time. Feel free to fact check me on that, but it's definitely up there. So in the last season, they played Pall Mall, which is a sort of version of croquet. So we thought that this would be a fun thing to include in the game lawn menu, especially since we know so many people may have seen this and would want to play the Bridgerton family's favorite game. So thinking more about outdoor gaming, we really love the idea of having community leagues. So this is just the idea of making sure that the leagues feel like semi-formalized through the community, whether it's volleyball or beer pong, bocce, ring toss, darts, like anything like that, and making an actual community league. So people are getting together at a certain time, you're building those friendships, you're making those social connections, and then it's sort of adding a little bit of layer of that vibrancy when the rest of the community sees that something is going on the same evening, a couple of times a week, just having that sort of low-lying buzzy energy to help encourage that social connection and really build that true community, all centered around the idea of play, and specifically for this feature, outdoor play. We are a huge fan of multi-purpose spaces, so we love the Multisport Court. It's so functional, a really great way to use one space to host many sports and games. So the court pictured here, you can play basketball, shuffleboard, volleyball, badminton, hopscotch, tennis, pickleball. So having all of those games able to play on one space, we just love the flex of that. And we just have a note here too, you can consider placing this court on the roof as well. So when we think about play, specifically outdoor play, we can't forget our pets. So wanting to think about new ways to approach activating the dog park. Here we have a few ideas, but climbing features, hurdles, water features are really fun. Some things for the humans too. So there are tennis ball vending machine we really love that could be property branded and feels really special and adds sort of a level of vibrancy or activation for the humans as well. And then another thing that we like the idea of is having some of these game tables in the dog park area for the humans also, so that you can get to know your neighbor while your dogs are playing. There's sort of something for the humans to do at the same time. Another note, just a cool product that we found is the Tug Neato. It is a tug device for dogs, and they say it's a tug device that tugs back. So you can see here it's mounted outside, and when the dog pulls on it, it actually has an opposing force, so it pulls back. Pretty cool. We think that could be a really nice further activation for this dog park as well. Thinking about multi-purpose spaces, we wanted to find a way to make a parking lot playful. And so we brainstormed a bunch of ways to convert this typically single-use space that's only used for resident parking into sort of valuable amenity space. So we wanted to propose this idea and really get everyone thinking about it in advance or ahead of time so that as we're planning these projects, we can plan ahead and run power or run water to this parking lot so that we can sort of future proof for any of these ideas that we may want to activate later on. So these are things like game day tailgates, food trucks, having these pop-up movie screens. So being really thoughtful about where we may need to run power in order for having these movie screens or having these tailgates so people can plug in an electric grill or something like that. Also, it's worth noting to future-proof for this EV charging market saturation. As more and more people are switching to electric vehicles, there may be a future need for additional charging. So having that power run can be a nice way to future-proof against that as well. We looked at some other pop-up events that could happen in parking lots. So things like the trunk or treat, which is typically for kids, but we were saying that would be so fun for adults to do too as a programming idea. That's pictured here. People really go all out and decorate their whole trunk. Maybe everyone knows this, but I was new to this idea. It's pretty fun. And then seasonal markets as well. So things like farmers markets, they could pop up an area to do cut Christmas trees in the winter, these kinds of things. And food trucks as well. I know I touched on that, but this image here is like a pop-up hair salon. So having the capacity to bring those things in so residents can go out and get their hair cut, or maybe it's dog grooming, those kinds of ideas. And that concludes our outdoor play.